Welcome guys to That's Wild, my new podcast. And I decided to create this podcast because many of my friends and family have been saying, Tegan, you should have a podcast. And I tend to do what my family and friends say. But it took me a while to get here because I think that I don't have a lot to say that might be of value. But I'm going to just rant and share my life and also interview people and share their lives and their stories on this podcast. So I think it will be fun just to see who I get to talk to, and topics of conversation, and just things going on generally in my life that I get to document and talk about more. I kind of started a podcast, I think, last year or 2 years ago, but I didn't keep up with it. So this time, I'm going to start trying my hardest to actually keep up with it and do what I aim to do with this podcast. So, yes, well, welcome everyone, and I hope that you enjoy this new chapter of my life. It's called That's Wild because there's so many things in this world that I just think are absolutely bizarre and wild. So I thought it would be a good overall term to use throughout the podcast. For those of you that are watching, you can probably tell that I'm in my car. My car is my safe space and I'm in it a lot of the time. I do a lot of driving. I've probably been in my car probably 8 to 10 hours this week alone. So yeah, she's been through a lot with me. But the reason why I'm in my car is because I don't have a studio, I don't have a workspace. So my car is the best choice and the sound should be good and it's easy to film in whenever. So that's the reason why I'm in my car. I do love my car. I have a thing for cars. Like, there's this trend going around where it's like, if I won the lottery, everyone would know. And for me, it would be like, everyone would know because I would not only get loads of horses, but I'd also get like my dream cars. And there's like 3 cars, maybe 4, but 3 that I have in mind that like I would love to drive one day. And I've always had a thing for like really old vintage cars. Which I think I've said that in the past, but I would love like a really old Cadillac in red or baby blue, because that's really cute. But then I also want, is it the Audi RS5 in that is beautiful. It looks like Catwoman's car. It's that kind of vibe. And then the third car or van that I've always wanted is an American pickup truck where it's like 2 seats, or no, not 2 seats, it's like a bench in the front and then a big pickup bed in the back. I didn't know why I want it and I didn't know what I'd use it for, but I just think it would be fun. Maybe not in the English weather, because like the bed will get very wet, but I still think it'd be really fun. And then beyond that, I would also get loads of horses because, obviously, I would. Well, actually, no, I probably would just get one nice one and actually save the rest of my money for the future. But anyway, I digress. So that is the reason why I'm filming in my car, and yeah, most of the series is going to be in my car, or if I'm able to get to people, then we'll do it in their base. So that is the reason why I'm here. See, I always thought this and then I'm like, what the hell do I talk about? But let's do like a life catch up. So right now in my life, I'm at the lovely age of 23, which is both like you're very young and early in your life and career, but I also feel very old and mature compared to like most people my age, or like most people that are younger than me. Well, at an age where I am getting called old, which I don't understand how I am old, but compared to apparently 20-year-olds or younger, I'm very old to them. But I think it's because I'm just very, like, old-natured in the way that I live my life. Like, I don't really party anymore, I don't get out late, but I think that's more of a equestrian thing than, like, an age thing. Equestrians, you're either a partier or you're like an in bed by 9 p.m. kind of equestrian, and I'm in bed pretty early. That's how I like to live my life. I don't mind party, but like it has to be diarised. I'm not like, if you call me at 8 p.m. and say do you want to go out at 9, it's a no for me. So that's kind of where I'm at in my life. Regarding my riding, this year we did a lot more than what we thought we would. We did three-star internationals, which was very, 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 very fun, and I enjoyed myself very much, and it was a big change, I think, for us. When you step up to the level where you're riding against Paralympic riders, and you're against, first of all, riders that I've watched for years and that I've admired, but also they've got so much more experience than I do. So stepping up to that level was a bit of a eye-opener and a bit of a shock, I think, for everyone. But I've enjoyed every minute and I've learnt so much, and there's so much more to learn. But I've also just enjoyed this year. We've been to 3, and each competition we improved, which I was really, really happy about, actually. Coco is doing well. She's down, she's happy. We gotta try and keep her going for the next 2 years. She is 16 years old, so she is getting on, but we're hoping that she can stay around for the next 2 years, and then I can start looking for my next partner. Even though this year was like really fun and successful and new for us, there was also a lot of anxiety for me, and even though it sounds quite strange, I don't think I've ever experienced anxiety truly until this year. I feel like before this year, I probably did get anxious, but the anxiousness was out of excitement rather than like fear. But this year was anxiety out of fear. Like, I was scared. I was definitely scared. But I think it's because when you step up to the next level, there's more pressure. There's more pressure on yourself, but also pressure because I have a team that are helping me to do everything, and I want to be able to succeed and show that I can do it. But yeah, there was so much anxiety for this year, and I ended up getting a counsellor, or like a sports psychologist, to help me kind of, it suddenly got very bright, to help me with my anxiety, as well as just finding ways to cope in stressful moments. And we kind of discovered that a lot of the stress came from a very toxic partnership from a few years ago. I was training with someone that was very toxic and just very damaging to like my soul and my ego and my person. It was hard to kind of, at the time I kept going because that was the only option I had. But when I then left, it wasn't until I left was when I started to process everything that happened. So I think it was like a double trauma reaction almost. So it took me a while to kind of realise that I am good and I am capable of my job, but I needed to kind of reconvince myself that I could do this, and yeah, it was hard. But anyway, I am a power dressage rider, riding at international level. I'm also a producer and presenter, which are two of my favourite things to do. First of all, I understand that these are like a lot of jobs, and I do agree that it is insane, but they're all things that I really love and enjoy to do, and things that I've always kind of done. I've been a producer for probably the last 8 years of my life. Yes, I am 23, so I started quite young. I created my first film when I was 12, and it came out when I was 13, and that film did really well. It's called Tegan's Story, and it's an animation on my birth and my disability and how I got it, and that film is still used kind of as an educational tool within many systems, within schools, within lectures, medical practices. It's used everywhere just to teach people about disability, but from the perspective of someone with a disability. Because that doesn't often get taught from, like, off words. It doesn't get taught from our perspective. So that's the reason why I kind of created it when I was young, and I never expected it to do well, but it did, and I'm very grateful for that, because that kind of gave me my start in my career as a producer and a director and a writer and featuring in film, and that's kind of what I love to do now. So it was a great start to my career for sure. Since then I've done many things and been in many features. I think my most recent one probably would be the Netflix feature, which one I did in 2021, and that showed me getting my power horse Coco. That was an amazing opportunity, and I can't even watch it without crying anymore, so I don't watch it often, but it's a very beautiful film, and I'm really happy that we captured that moment of me kind of working hard to get money together, to get the horse, and finding the horse, and then the horse coming home, and it's very emotional, and I can't watch it anyway without crying, so, but yeah, I'm very grateful that I got to do that. And then my most recent one is not out yet, so I can't tell you exactly what it is, but it'll be out within November of 2024, so this year, this month, it'll be coming out on Amazon Prime. And yeah, I'm really excited for this one, because it's not just me, it's another very famous Paralympian, and I'm not sure how much I can say, but in my episode we talked about inclusivity within sports, and especially being LGBTQ plus or in the community, and how the sport accepts that or doesn't. And we kind of compared my sport of equestrianism to their sport, and yeah, it was just really interesting to actually hear from another Paralympian. Well, I'm not Paralympian yet, but like another Paralympic athlete, and hear their opinion on acceptance within sports and inclusivity and diversity, and things that can be done better in other sports that might do well, or vice versa, like things that in equestrianism that we could improve from just learning from other sports. So it was really interesting few days of filming, and I'm very excited to see it. The premiere is in 2 weeks from now, so I think when this goes up it'll be like in a week, I think. But yeah, I'm really excited to actually see the full thing, because I'm only in episode 2, but there's 3 episodes, and I'm really excited to see the whole thing. So that's my most recent thing that'll be out, which is scary but fun. What else is there to update? I also got a very exciting announcement for next year, which I can't disclose yet, But when I do, I think you're all going to be very excited because this is the big launch or relaunch of my brand and myself. So that's something definitely to look forward to. What else can I talk to you about? I feel like everything in my life is kind of like, I can tell you parts of it, but not the full story yet. But what can I tell you about? See, I love talking about dating with a disability because I think it is a wild place to be. Like, it's insane. And I recently met up with my friend who lived in London, and she also had a disability, and we were discussing dating with a disability and how crazy it can be because there's always this kind of, let me not do that. There's always this crazy undertone of like, when it's best to disclose that you have a physical disability. And we were trying to like discuss and talk to each other about it and see what each other have done. And there isn't really, oh my god, I got like a hair in my eye. There we go. There isn't really an easy or right way to do it. Like, if you disclose you've got a disability before you meet the person, they might just write you off because they think that you're disabled and they don't want to get involved and they'll write you off. Or you tell them, like, the day of, so that you give them a bit of a hint, but not the whole thing. But then, like, when they see you in person, they might be shocked by, like, how severe or how obvious your disability is. So that's an option. Or you could just show up blind and just see how they handle it, which she had done before. I've not done that before because I think that's way too, like, bold, and I think that would hurt my feelings and my ego even more if someone like didn't want to get to know me because that was the obvious reason. But yeah, it was really interesting to actually discuss with another disabled black woman speech. It was actually really great to talk with another disabled black woman and hear her and hear her perspective of how she does it. And I think a lot of the time people with disability, we don't really date a lot because it's such a hard thing to navigate, and it's hard to know when to disclose or when to talk about it or how to bring it up and how people are going to react to it. And again, there isn't a right or wrong way, it's just how you decide to do it. But it's so hard. And we were kind of saying that I think for people with disabilities, we also attract very weird people. They either are very like fetishized, is that the word? Fetishized? Fetishized? I can't say it, but you get the idea. They either are like that, or it's kind of like a pity thing, like they'll date you for a week to get to know you, but like they're not really interested. It's kind of that. And then if you find a good person, it's just rare. It's rare that you find a genuine nice person that likes you where you are. And especially on like the dating apps and how everything works these days, it's hard to find that genuine person. So when you do it, it's so rewarding when you actually do find someone that does see you for you and not your disability. Even though your disability is part of you, it's not who you are fully. Like, there's more beyond that, if you get what I mean. So it's nice when people actually see that in you. But yeah, that was one really thing. I cannot say it, but that was one really interesting thing that happened to me over the last few weeks, was just getting to hear her perspective on it. And to be fair, that was also another challenge, was that when I went to see her, that was my first time travelling to London by myself. before then, I'd always gone with a friend or a carer or my mum. And let me just say, like, travelling alone with a disability or with a physical disability is so scary. It's so scary. But mainly because you just have to think about everything. Like, I didn't quite realise how much, when there's someone there to help you, how much you just don't think about things. But there's so much to think about. Like, when you have a physical disability to consider, you have to think about the steps onto the train. What leg do you step on? What is that leg going to be reliable? Are you going to be able to lift your suitcase on? Are you going to be able to lift your suitcase off? Are you going to be able to get in your seat before the train starts moving? Will you be able to use the toilet? Will the toilet be available? What else? I think the one thing that stressed me out the most was, like, sitting next to someone that I don't know, because when I sit next to my family or friends, like, I don't have to control or hold in my body, like, tics or spasms. But when you're sat next to someone random, you kind of feel like you have to try to control them a little bit, or just, like, sit quietly. And that was one thing that stressed me out, or just trying not to, like, let my body hit them, or, like, move in a certain way, or scare them, or breathe weird, or so that stressed me out a little bit. But then also, what was the other thing? Like, it's just hard to navigate London as well with a disability. It is relatively accessible because there are lifts and elevators and, not elevators, escalators, and you can get a taxi or a tube, but there's just, again, so many things to think about that when I'm not on my own that I don't realise that I don't think about. But yeah, even though it was terrifying, I did it because I really wanted to test myself and see how independent I could be. And not gonna lie, in the future I probably will drive because it is easier for me just to drive, even though it takes forever to drive to London. I'd rather drive and know that I have the security of my car, my space, than get on a train. Well, it depends on the area, but, like, if I have to get on a train and then get on a tube and then get a taxi, like, I might as well just drive. So that's kind of one thing that I learned about from that trip, was just how independent I can be, but also where my limits are, and where I kind of decide, okay, I might need help with this, and I would feel safer if I did this. And the other thing that I really don't like about London is the electric cars and the electric taxis. I get so car sick in those things. So car sick. I feel like I'm fighting for my life whenever I get in an electric car in London. They're horrible. I don't understand how anyone could drive them or even sit in them. They're horrible. I literally feel like it's worse than going on a roller coaster, those things. So I think that's probably why I prefer to drive, because at least then I don't feel ill. Yeah. So I think that was a great realization for this year, which is that, I mean, that thing goes for everything in life, not just relationships, but people with disabilities also love brain work. People with disabilities often get put down and get thought of as less, and I just got to a point where I'm really fed up with it. Like, for example, like my career, I am young, I am still learning, but I have quite a lot of experience, I have quite a lot under my belt, and people often judge my disability as like me being not capable of doing my job, and that's something else that I find really annoying and irritating, because if you actually even look to my CV, I probably have the qualifications that you need, that you're looking for, but because a lot of people judge by appearance or disabilities, or they just appear by outer appearance, basically, is the reason why I haven't got a few opportunities. But yeah, it's been a struggle, but I came to that realization earlier this year that I'm just not gonna settle for less anymore, and I'm only going to manifest and accept what I deserve in this life. I want the best for myself, and I want to be able to achieve my goals and achieve what I want to achieve, and that's what we're going for. So yeah. Okay, I feel like I've rambled on for long enough at least, but I hope you enjoyed the first episode of my podcast, and I hope you're looking forward to what I have to come. I will be having guests on in the next few weeks, and I'm pretty sure these are guests that you all like to hear from. Some of them are my family and friends, and some of them are influencers / celebrities that you might know in the influence world and in the equestrian world. So I hope you're looking forward to hearing more from me and this podcast. Thank you guys for supporting me, and don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel and the podcast. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next episode. Yay! Do I want to say anything else? What else do I want to say? I don't know. I feel like I should say something. What else is going on in my life? Something else that is new to me in the next... No. What else? Something else that is new for me is that I have started a new job, and I am an admin worker for my mum's charity. I'm only there for maternity cover, but I'm actually quite excited about it because I have done admin before, but this is a different style of admin. And first of all, I love my mum. My mum is lovely. She's iconic. Everyone loves Sylvia, but it took me a long time to agree to do this job, because when you work with your mother and you also live with your mother, I feel like that could be like a thing. Like, we're either gonna butt heads a lot or we're gonna be fine. But my mum and I work very differently. I like to work late into the night. She's a very early riser, and I feel like if we work home, it would be chaos. So we've agreed to keep work primarily in the office, and that's the reason why I agreed to do it, because she needed to cover. I was able to cover for at least the maternity leave, and then she wouldn't have to get more staff to cover. So I'm doing that for the next probably year. I don't know how long for actually, but yeah, I'm very excited for this chapter in my life. But beyond that, I'm also doing my producing. My camera cut out because I've been recording for too long. But what I was saying was I'm also doing my producing and presenting alongside my admin job. And my next job is presenting for British Dressage at their convention, although it's not called that this year. It's called British Dressage Presents, and I'm one of the presenters alongside Alana, who is the youth ambassador for BD, but first of all, I'm very excited and honoured to have got this job, and it's something that I've always wanted to do. I absolutely love presenting and love that side of life. I love being able to connect with people and kind of elevate the experience and ask questions that people don't normally ask. But one thing that people don't realise is how terrifying it is. And I feel like that's kind of obvious, but I definitely portray myself to be very confident online, and I can be, but to get to that point, there's usually a lot of anxiety before anything like that. I get so anxious, but it's mainly because, first of all, my presenting role in my life has normally been talking about disability on myself. And this is my first year that I'm presenting in the equestrian world. So I feel like my two worlds have collided, and I'm having to kind of navigate this new world of presenting as an equestrian rather than presenting in the field of lecture or medicals or medical professionals or uni students. It's a very different phase of my presenting life, so it definitely gives me a bit of anxiety going into something like that. And there's a lot of people. It's going to be very big and very crowded, and I did do something this year which was kind of similar, where I did a open day where I rode and I spoke about disabled sports and how I ride, and that was kind of my first trial run. But yeah, there's lots of anxiety before things like that, and yeah, there's lots of anxiety. I still get stressed out. People think that I am overly confident and things like that. I am not. I am when I'm doing it, because the thing is with me, usually once I start the job, I can then enjoy it and I can then get in the role in the moment. But before then, I get so stressed out because it is still new to me and I'm still learning. But also, I think when you have a disability, I always overthink the things that could go wrong or that I struggle with. So that's something that I'm trying to do less of. Is just not overthink the bad stuff. Because if you do that, it's just not going to help. So I'm going into next week with positive thoughts. I still need to figure out what I'm going to wear, because I have no idea. They want me to wear navy, and I own very little navy clothes. Navy isn't my colour, so I have to figure that out, which is another stress to deal with. But that's what I got to stress about, and that's okay, to be honest. But yeah, that's another thing that's just new for me in my career, is presenting in the equestrian field. But I'm excited for it. I'm excited. And it kind of is a good lead into my rebrand and relaunch for next year and what I'm going to be up to. So, yeah, there's lots to look forward to over the next few months. And yeah, I'm excited that I have this podcast to keep you guys updated and share more in real time. And also to talk about other topics of conversation and life and general lifestyle that I just think are really interesting and weird. So yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this first episode, and I'm looking forward to actually doing more of these and getting more into my long form content. And yeah, I hope that you guys follow along the journey and look forward to the next episode. There will be a few guests coming on very soon, so look forward to that. And yeah, thank you guys for listening. But I have to do the cringy part of don't forget to like and to subscribe, because that helps me and then that helps you, because I'll actually do the job and I'll actually make the podcast if I know people like it. So if you could like and subscribe, that would mean a lot to me. Yeah. Okay, that's it for this week. Bye.